Okay, so good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning.
Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
All right, all right. Okay, so in last class we have discussed about like types of applications. So we have different types of application such as desktop application, web application, enterprise applications, and mobile applications, and many more. But through Django, we will learn how we can create web applications. And web applications are the applications which provide services over the web are called web applications. So this is what we have discussed. We have seen web applications are having two components. First one is front end and the second one is back end. What is the use of front end? Front end represent the presentation layer, and that presentation layer is known as UI, or sometimes we call it front end. And how we can create the front end? In order to create the front end, we can use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And if we talk about backend, so backend is what process the data, store the data, or business logic. Okay, it contains means backend is responsible to generate the required response for the front end. Whatever response we need to display on the front end, so backend decide actually what to display, what to send for the display, right? And we have discussed about MVT. I said Django for follow one design pattern, which is nothing but MVT design pattern. So MVT means model view templates. So model means where we write database code. It is related to the database. When we talk about views, so here we write logics or Python code, or we can say business logic we write. T means template. Template means we write HTML code, right? So for example, I have given this example. For example, this is the Facebook login form. So it is the example of template. It represents the template in MPT. And there is a view when user will write their username and password, when he will click on this login button, so backend will check the credential. Backend will validate the user's input, and after that backend will request to the database in order to fetch the profile details. So here database is nothing but model. So in this diagram we can understand the MVT architecture, right? And we have discussed about framework. Framework means everything available at one place, right? So Django is a framework. In Django, we can create end-to-end application without using external library and resources, because it provides us the facility to write front-end code. It provides facility to write the business logic. It provides the facility to create the code for the database, to write the code for the database. And apart from this, it is having its admin panel Like you can create the super user, and you can use the forms which are inbuilt in Django. So Django basically follow the rapid development, means if you want to create the quick application, so Django is responsible to generate the quick application or rapid development we can do with Django. Okay, so I've given the example of framework and library. Framework means everything at one place and we are good to go to use it. And library means we need to use external resources in order to get the complete setup, right? Okay, so today we will see more about Django, right? Okay, so when we talk about web application, so web applications is having two components. One is front end, as we already discussed, and the second one is backend, right? So if I ask you like how we can design front end, what are the basic technologies in order to design the front end? So in order to design the front end, we have the basic technologies like HTML and CSS, as well as JavaScript. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? Okay. So for example, if we need to design the backend, so what we require? So if you want to design the backend, so what are the basic requirement to write the backend for an web application? So in order to write the backend, we should have knowledge of, we can say, we need one language. Language means we need a programming language like Python, like Java, like PHP, and we can say then we need one framework, and apart from the framework we need database, right? So what are the components of web applications? There are two components, one is front end and second is back end. When we talk about the components of front end, like what are the basic components to create the front end, so we can say HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And in order to design the backend, we required three technologies. One is a language, a programming language, and one is a framework, and another one is database, right? So when we talk about HTML, so with the help of HTML, basically HTML is a structure of the web page. HTML is what? Structure. It is a hypertext markup language which through we can create the structure of the web page. Okay. And with the help of CSS, what we can do? We can style our web page, or we can say we can change the layout. We can change the layout of our web page, or we can say we can add styling to our web page in order to make it more presentable, presentable, right? Okay. So if you are using only HTML, if you are using only HTML, so it will generate what? Static response, right? Only HTML will generate the static pages, or we can say static response we will get, right? And if we use HTML plus JS, means JavaScript. If we are using HTML with JavaScript, so now we can get dynamic response. Okay. And today we will try to create the first Django application, Django project we will try to create. I will tell you the installation steps as well. But before that, let's discuss this basic terminology. Then we will be ready to create the project, right? But before that, we should clearly understand these things. Okay. So now the question is, what is a static response? When we talk about static response, like we understood, like HTML only can generate the static response or static pages. Okay. And with HTML, CSS, we can create the dynamic responses. But what is static response? Right. And the second one is dynamic response. What is the static response and what is dynamic response? Okay. All right. So first of all, let me show you one image to understand in better way what is HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So as you can see this image, it's clearly showing the use of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So HTML means the basic skeleton. Here it is what? Skeleton. So this skeleton we create with HTML, which is hypertext markup language, which is used to create just a skeleton of the web application. But if we are adding CSS with HTML, we can make it more presentable. And if we are adding HTML, CSS and JavaScript, so means we can make our application dynamic, and we can make our application more interactive, right, with JavaScript. And let me show you this image as well. So as you can see here, only HTML, your website will look like this, but with CSS you can see your website beauty will increase somehow like this, whatever is there in image. So you can understand the importance of CSS in web development, right? Okay. So let's come back to our this topic. Okay. So static response is what? For example, the static response which is same for all. which is same for all the users. Let me show you with an example so that you can understand it in better way. For example, I'm searching here Facebook. Okay. So when I'm searching the Facebook, so Facebook server displaying me one login page. So if 10 users are searching Facebook and everyone getting the same page, no changes on login page, so such type of responses are nothing but static response. Static response means the response is same for person to person. It is same time to time. Means after 2 hours, if I will search facebook.com, it will again display me this Facebook page, right? And for example, Gmail login page, it will be same for everyone. It will be same for everyone, right? Okay. Now, what is the dynamic response? Dynamic response means, for example, if I'm writing here my username and I'm giving here my password and I'm clicking on this login button. If everything is fine, I'll get my dashboard, right? I will get my account. So that account after login, whatever response we are getting from the Facebook server, that is the dynamic response. Dynamic response is change person to person, means everyone will get the different interface after login. So that is the dynamic, right? And after 2 days you will get different response, means the response is changing time to time as well. For example, if I write here youtube.com, so whatever response is coming on this page, okay, it is not displaying. Okay, let me search here. So whatever response is coming from the YouTube, okay, so that is what, that is the dynamic response. So if I'm searching today this, so I'm getting this screen, okay, and if someone else will search YouTube, he will get different screen, right? Different content. But after 2 hours or after 3 hours, if I will search the YouTube, it will display me the different content, right? So this is what such type of responses are dynamic response. For example, if I'm searching amazon.in, so here today I'm getting these products, but tomorrow I will get different products, okay, and you might get the different products on your screen, because it's depend person to person, your response depend person to person, and it also depend time to time. Okay, so what we can say in definition, we can say if the response is not, if the response is not varied from the time to time and person to person, then it is considered as static response, right? So static response means not varied from person to person and time to time. Such responses are known as static response, right? And what about the dynamic response? So dynamic response, as we already know, we change time to time and person to person. Okay. So what is the example of a static response? Like we can give the example as, we can say example are nothing but Facebook login page, okay, Gmail login page, okay, right? Or we can say balance page of HDFC Bank. Okay, so these are the examples of dynamic responses, right? Okay. Now let's talk about these are the example of a static response. Now let's talk about the dynamic response. So it's simple, it's opposite to the static. We can say if the response is varied, right, from time to time and person to person, then it is considered as dynamic response. Okay. What are the examples of dynamic response? Okay. So what are the examples? Let's understand the examples as well. So examples, we can say, so the dynamic response example is what? We can say inbox page of Gmail, right? Amazon home page and YouTube home page, right? So these are the example of dynamic response. Okay. So this login page, login Gmail. Okay, balance page of HDFC Bank is not same for everyone. It is varied person to person. So that is not the example of a static page. Okay. So that is the example of dynamic response. Very. Okay, I hope you got the clarity about static page and dynamic page, right? Okay, so now let's talk about how to install the Django, right? So in order to install the Django, okay, let me just remove this also. Okay, so the question is how to install Django, right? So how we can install the Django? So in order to install the Django, we must have Python in our system. Okay. So first of all, we have to make sure Python is already installed in our system. Okay, and how we can check whether Python is really installed in our system or not. So in order to check whether Python is installed or not, what we can do, we can open the CMD, which is nothing but command prompt, and here after opening it, let me write here CLS in order to clear it. And in order to check the version, we can write here Python hyphen hyphen version. If it is showing version, then it means Python already there in your system. Otherwise, it will throw an error. Okay. Let's suppose Python is not there in your system. What you will do? Nothing but just go to the python.org.com, or you can simply write Python download. Okay. So here you will get the Python org website. Just click on this download Python button, and here you will get the latest version. So the latest version of Python is nothing but 3.13.5. Okay, so this is what we can say latest version. You can simply download it by clicking on this download button, right? We can click on the download button and we can download it, right? Okay, so this is how we can install the Python. But one more thing, when you are installing the Python, downloading is easy, but when you are installing the Python, you should remember one step: Python installation. Okay, you have to check one box. Okay, so when you will install the Python, you will see this screen. When you will install the Python, you will get this screen kind of interface. Okay, so you will get this kind of interface when you will install the Python first time, right? So what you have to do with this interface, you just need to click on this install launcher for all user. You have to check this box. Okay, and you can check the second one as well, add Python to path. Okay, so just check these three boxes, I mean two boxes, before clicking on this installation now button. Okay, so this is the important thing. Okay, when we are installing the Python, we have to make sure we are clicking on this checkbox. Okay, this one and this one, right? And after that, you can simply click on next, and it will be installed in your system, right? So after that, you can run this command to check the Python version. So it will display the Python version after successfully installation, right? So once Python is there in your system, now the second step is install Django. Okay, what is the second step? The second step is install Django. Okay, so first of all, let's check whether already Django installed in your system or not. If it is not installed, simply we need to install it. If it is already there, then we don't need to install it, right? Okay, so how to check whether Django is there in your system or not? How you will verify? We can simply write here py, or we can write here Python, both are correct. Okay, py hyphen m, and after that we can write Django hyphen hyphen version. Okay, so if Django is already installed in your system, it will display the version of the Django. Otherwise, it will not recognize this command. Okay, you can write py, or maybe you can write Python. Py is the short form of Python. So both are correct, right? Okay, So in order to check the Python version, what command we write? We write the command Python. So we write the command Python hyphen hyphen version. Okay. To check Python version, this is the command. To check Django version. Okay. So we have the command which is py hyphen m Django hyphen Django hyphen hyphen version. So these two commands are there in order to install the, to check the app, like installation is already exist in the system or not, right? So let's suppose Django is not there in our system, then what we can do? We can simply go to the Google and we can write Django Django install. Okay. So here is the Django documentation. If you will follow the documentation of Django, so you can learn many things. Okay. So in the Django website, we have documentation tab. So here it is showing how to install Django. So it is basically a simple command to install the Django, but let me show you from here. So this is the command. So if you will write py or python hyphen m pip install Django, right? So it will install Django in your local machine, right? Okay. So we can run this command in order to install the Django. Okay. Pip python hyphen m pip install Django. Okay. So let me just write here cls. Now I'm writing the command python hyphen m pip install Django. Press enter. Okay. So it will install the latest version of Django. But here in my system, what it is saying, requirement already satisfied. Okay. But if you want to install a specific version of Django, then you can write here equals to and you can write the version name. Okay. So like that also you can do. But right now we have to work with latest version of Django. So we have to install the latest one. Okay. So this is how we can install the Django. Okay. So in order to install the Django, we have command this one. Okay. Right. Okay. So now let's understand about the Django project. Okay. So whenever we create the Django project, so whenever we work with Django framework, so we start with project. First of all, we create the Django project. Okay, first of all, we create the project, and inside the project, inside the Django project, we create the applications. Okay, and inside a project, we can have different applications. Okay, okay, such as, for example, what are the applications we can have in our Django project? Like, for example, there is a login app. So I'm giving the basic example. Like, login app could be there in a project. Okay, there could be a sign up application. Okay, there could be a polling application, poll application, right? And there could be a different application, right? Okay, so whenever we create the Django project, so in order to create the Django project, what we need to do, basically we need to write one command. And what is the command we need to write? We write this command in, okay, in our terminal we will write this command, Django admin. Okay, start, we will write the command Django admin start, Django admin start project. Okay, and after writing this command, we will mention our project name. Okay, so let's suppose my project name is first project. Okay, my project name is first project. So this command will, okay, so this command will basically create our project. Okay, this command will create our project. But let's suppose I have to create one application in our project. Okay, there could be a multiple applications in our project, but let's suppose I have to create the first application. Let's suppose I have to create this poll application. So what is the command to create this application? So in order to create application inside the Django project, we need to write the command. Okay, we need to write the command py manage.py start app. Okay, and after that we can write our application name. In this case, our application name is poll, right? And we will press the enter, it will generate application, it will create an application inside the project. But when I'm saying inside the project means, okay, so let me write the correct name. Basically this project name is not a project, this project name is basically the first project. Okay, so this project name is what? First project, right? Okay, so this is the first project we have created. But inside the project, as you can see here clearly, inside the project only I am creating these applications. And what is the command to create the application? This is the command to create the application. But we have to create the application inside the first project. So in order to go inside the first project, we need to write command. Before executing this command, we need to write one more command to change the directory. Okay, so in order to change the directory, which command we will write? We will write cd. Cd means change directory or change the folder. Okay, from current folder to we have to go inside this first project folder. So here I will write first project, right? Once you are there in the first project folder, now you are ready to write this create application command, start application command. Okay, so these three commands are important in order to create the Django project. Okay, Okay, so let's see this practically, right? So what I will do, I will just open my file. I'll go to the D drive, and after that we have this folder Django 6:30 a.m. Okay, and here what I will do, this location I have to open in my VS Code. Okay, so these are the different, there are the different ways. First of all, you can open the VS Code and you can open this location. Second step is you just click on this URL and delete everything and write CMD directly here. Okay, and this location has opened in CMD, and after that you can write here one command which is code space dot. Dot means the current location, means it will open the current folder in VS Code. Okay, so we got the current folder in our VS Code. This is the first way. And the second way is what you can do, you can just simply go to the VS Code and open it and just click on new. I mean, click on file. Okay, and after that, click on open folder. Right after opening the folder, just click on the folder where you want to work. And here I would like to create one more folder. So what I will do, I'll click on new and I will create here folder. Okay, so my folder name is nothing but projects. Okay, so folder name is projects, and I will go inside this folder. I will click on select folder. So as you can see, this projects folder has been created and it is showing here on VS Code, right? Okay, now what we need to do, we have to create the Django project. So in order to create the Django projects, we need to write the command. So in order to write the command, we can open the terminal and we can take new terminal. Otherwise, we can write this command Control Shift plus this tilde symbol. And this tilde symbol you can find just below the escape key. There is a escape key at the corner of the keyboard, top left side corner. Okay, like what I'm trying to say. If you will press Control and this tilde, okay, it is showing here, but mostly you will find this key just below of this escape key. So it will also open your terminal. Control and tilde. Okay, so your terminal is coming, right? So in order to create the project, we need to write the command. So what is the command? The command is Django admin start project. Okay, so this is the command. So let's write the same command. So I'm writing here py, not py. We have to write Django admin start project, and after that we have to write the project name, and project name is first project. Just click enter. Okay, so we have got the first project directory, and this directory comes with some configurations file. Okay, so if we talk about what this directory will contain, so before showing inside this directory, okay, so what we need to do, we need to discuss some file. So when you will create the project, okay, right now I haven't write this command to create the application. I have written this command to create the project. So let me just, okay, so let's discuss what are the files will come with this first project folder. Okay, So when we create our folder, when we create our first project, okay, and what was the project name? First project. Okay, so this is what first project folder we have created with command. We cannot say only folder, but we can say this is the project we have created. So in this folder, I mean in this project folder, you will get one more folder. Okay, one more folder you will get. And what will be the name of this folder? The folder name will be same. Again, the folder name will be same, which is first project. Okay, you will get the similar name. Inside the project folder, you will get one more folder, which is first project. The name of that folder will be the first project. And here you will get one file. Okay, you will get one file in this project, which is manage. Okay, manage.py. Okay, so manage.py file will be there, and this first project will be there. Okay, so what is the use of this first project folder? What does it contain? So it contains project configurations files. Okay, so what are the project configurations files? So it contains some files like settings.py. Okay, so projects regarding settings it keeps, right? Project regarding settings are nothing but configurations files such as installed applications, applications information it contains. It contains middleware information. Okay, it contains directories information as well. Okay, so different configurations setting will be there. Okay, second you may get the file which is urls.py file. And what does it do? urls.py file, it contains URL patterns. Okay, it contains different pages URL. Okay, each page is associated with some URL. What does it mean? For example, if I'm writing here amazon.in, so this is one URL. Okay, so here what I will get? I will get the Amazon page, and I'm getting all the products, means kind of dashboard I'm getting all the product, but I have to go the different page. So different page associated with different URL. Okay, so here I am writing .in slash mobile. Okay, slash mobile URL is associated with different items. Okay, so here what I am getting? Here I will get the information regarding mobiles. And here what I'm getting? I'm getting the home screen. Okay, so what we have different URLs. So similarly here also in urls.py file we will get different URLs. Okay, and the third one is we can have WSGI. Okay, so it is what web server gateway interface. Basically we use it at the time of deployment when we will deploy our application, Django application, from local machine to server. Okay, so then we use WSGI, and ASGI also use at the time of deployment, right? And we have one more file, one more empty file we will have in this first project configuration folder, which is underscore underscore init dot py. And if you will open this underscore dot py, so it will be empty file. There will be no code in this file. Then what is the importance of this dot py file? Basically this dot py file, okay, underscore init underscore dot py, such kind of files, okay, we can say these are nothing but these files tells to the Python treat this folder as a package, Python package. Okay, so means the Django will treat this first project folder as a Python package. That is why we are keeping this file, okay, init.py. Okay, so these are the files we have when we create the project. So as you can see here, we have created the first project, and inside the first project we are having two things. One is first project, second is manage.py. As per this diagram, you can see whenever you will open the project, you will get two things. One is first project folder and you will get manage.py. As we can already see here, we are getting two things, first project and manage.py. What first project contains? First project contain .init.py file. When you open this init.py file, you will see nothing in this file. There is no code. Okay, but this file treat our folder. Because of this file, Django will treat our folder as Python package. Okay, and we have ASGI file, then we have settings.py file, urls.py file, and wsgi file, and we have manage.py file. Okay, so these are the files, and if you want to see this structure on the terminal, so what you can write here tree and /f, I guess. So if you will write tree /f, so you can see this structure. Okay, so you can see the directory structure here, right? Okay, so when we talk about this manage.py file, so this manage.py file is very important in our project, because with the help of this application, with the help of this file manage.py file, we can start our local server. Okay, and we can start our application. We can create the application with the help of manage.py application. We can run the migrations and we can do many tasks. So this file is very important, right? So for example, let's suppose I have to create the application. So to whom I will tell? So inside the Django project, I will tell to the manage.py. I will tell to the manage.py file, please create project for me. But I will not say please create project for me. Instead, I will write the command to create the project. So the command to create the project, which is py manage.py. Okay, so we can write here start app. Okay, and application name. For example, application name I am writing here test app. Okay, so what will happen inside this project? Inside this project, it will create my test application, right? What is the application name? Test app. Okay, so when we will create this application, we will also have some default files in it. Okay, in the test application, we will get some default files, such as we will get different files, such as we can get here like models.py file. We can get here views.py file. We can get here. Okay, so what are the other files we can get? So we have admin file as well, admin.py, right? We can get here test. .py file, and we can get, okay, we can get one more which is apps.py. Okay, so these are the files we will get. These are the default files we will get whenever we create the application. So in order to create the application, we have this command. If we will follow this command, if we will write this command, so we can create the project. But make sure you are writing this command inside the project, inside the first project folder. Okay, make sure you should check your current working directory. Okay, so what is my current working directory, which is project? But where is my project? My project name is first project, but my present working directory is not first project, it is project. If you want to check your current directory, you can write here pwd. So pwd will display the path of your current location. Okay, so this is the location, but we have to go to inside the first project folder. Where we have to go? Inside the first project folder. How we can go? We can write here, what we can write? We can write here cd. Cd means change directory. And what is my project folder name? First project. Okay, so right now I am in first project folder, right? So if you will write here dir, so you will get what are the files you have, folder you have. We have first project folder and we have manage.py file. Okay, so the question is what we can do with manage.py file. So you can write here py manage.py and press enter. Okay, so if you will press the enter, so you can see these many things you can do with manage.py file. Okay, we can perform migrate and migrations. Okay, we can open the shell. Okay, we can test our application, we can create the test server, we can create the application. Okay, I'm just showing the commands which we can use with manage.py, but actually we have to create the application. To create the application, we need to write command py manage.py start app. What's the application name? Let's suppose I'm writing test app. So am I writing the correct command? Let's check here. So the command is py manage.py start app test app. So the similar command I'm writing here, py manage.py start app and test app. Okay, now press enter. Okay, so as you can see here, test app folder has been created, and this is nothing but we have created one application inside our project folder. We have project folder. Inside the project folder, now we have three things. One is project settings folder, we have application, we have manage.py, right? So these are the three things we required whenever we create the project. Okay, so let me just, okay, so whenever you will create the project, what we will get? We should have three things at least in our project. So let me show you whatever we have done so far. So we have created the first project. Okay, so when you will create the first project, it comes with one folder. Okay, so the folder name will be itself, first project. Okay, so it will be first project. Okay, but this first project will contain the configurations file, project config. Okay, so it will contains what? Project configurations. Okay, project configurations like settings, information, and we can say it contains urls information and many things. And one more file we have. Okay, this is the one folder we have, and apart from this we have another folder which is a application folder, which is The folder name is test app because we have created the application, so we should have the test app application test app. Okay, so this is the test app folder, or we can say test app application, which is also having again some configurations file, but right now we are not discussing that. And we have one of the important file in this project, which is manage.py. Okay, with the help of this manage.py file, we can create the applications. Without this manage.py file, we cannot create the application inside the project. Okay, so this is what we have discussed in today's lecture. Okay, in today's tutorial, we have discussed about this. And let me give you the screenshot of this. Let me write here tree /f. Okay, and the last thing is, once your application has been created, once your project has been created, now you can start your development server. What's the command to start the server? Py manage.py run server. Okay, we can write this command to run our server. So press enter. Okay, so your server is started, and when you will type this URL, you can copy this URL and you can open this URL in your browser, in any browser. And if you will paste this URL, you will see the Django application. So this is the default page we are getting of Django application, right? Otherwise, what you can do, if you will write here localhost and the port number 8000, then also you can get the default application, because this 127.0.0.1, this is nothing but our local server. Okay, so this is how you will get the default application. All right, all right. So that's all for today, guys. Tomorrow we will discuss other thing. We will discuss project configuration, and we will try to create the first application with code. Right now we didn't write code for this applications, but we will create a simple project. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Does anyone have any doubt?
No.
All right, so thank you for giving your time, guys. Bye. Bye, all of you.